"You're so handsome," Taylor Swift said to Travis Kelce, catching everyone off guard, especially Jason Kelce, who was left speechless and grinning as the moment sank in. The conversation shifted, Taylor's laughter filling the room, as she was asked if she had a favorite album among those she's re-recorded, and if there were different eras she enjoyed revisiting more than others. Taylor replied that she truly enjoyed recording all her albums, but Red held a special place in her heart. She talked about how Red was unique, not only for its sound, but because of the vault songs she unearthed, tracks that never made it to the official release the first time around. Among these, she said, was maybe her favorite song she's ever written, All Too Well, the 10-minute version. She explained that the original version had so many more verses than what fans had heard on the album when Red first came out. Then Taylor laughed, recalling how she made what she called a glorious, fortuitous mistake by mentioning in an interview that there was a much longer version of All Too Well. Her fans, always attentive, caught on immediately. They didn't let it go, asking, begging, "Where's the 10-minute version? Give us the 10-minute version." The demand was relentless, growing louder over time. When the chance came to record Taylor's version of Red, she knew exactly what her fans wanted. She dug through her old notebooks, found those missing verses, and pieced the song together as she'd originally imagined it. Then, she put it all back in. Taylor smiled as she described how performing All Too Well, 10-minute version, during the Eras tour was one of her favorite experiences ever. Night after night, she'd watch entire stadiums scream the lyrics, the energy so intense that she sometimes wondered if the crowd was okay, joking about maybe someone needing to go to the hospital from the sheer passion. The response to the song was overwhelming, and Taylor found herself imagining what might have happened if she'd never mentioned that long version, if it had just stayed hidden in her notebooks, never to see the light of day. That song, she said, became one of the most iconic parts of a tour, something she'll never forget. The connection with her fans grew even stronger, and it made her fall in love with Red all over again. As Jason and Travis Kelce listened, they couldn't help but get caught up in Taylor's excitement. Taylor's stories about her creative process, about going back and reclaiming her work, fascinated them. She talked about the feeling of being on stage, how the music and the crowd's energy created a kind of magic, especially with songs that meant so much to her. Jason asked if there were any other songs from the vault she was especially proud of. Taylor said yes, there were several, but All Too Well stood out because of how personal and raw it felt to perform that version, like sharing a secret with thousands of people every night. She remembered the first time she played the 10-minute version live, how nervous she felt, not knowing if fans would really want to hear every lyric, every verse. But the reaction was immediate and overwhelming. People sang along with every word, some crying, some laughing, and the whole arena felt united by the story in the song. Taylor talked about the process of re-recording her albums in general, how revisiting old songs brought back memories from each era of her life. She said some songs were harder to return to, while others made her feel grateful for how far she'd come. Travis asked what it was like to hear her own voice from years ago and then record it again now. Taylor laughed, saying it was a little surreal, like looking at old pictures of yourself and seeing how much you've changed but also how much has stayed the same. The whole room laughed and relaxed, the conversation flowing easily now. Taylor shared more stories from the Eras tour, describing moments on stage that surprised her, the fans who dressed up, the creative signs, the way certain songs would set off a wave of emotion through the crowd. She loved seeing the ways fans connected to the music and to each other, sometimes forming friendships or even relationships that started because of her tours. Jason and Travis were both fascinated, asking about the logistics of putting together such a massive show. Taylor talked about rehearsals, the technical challenges, and the excitement she felt every night before walking on stage. She said there was nothing like the feeling of being in front of thousands of people who all know the words, who all came together for the music. At this point, Jason joked that maybe they should come to a show and see it for themselves, and Taylor grinned, inviting them both. Travis teased Jason about not being able to handle the crowd, and everyone laughed again. The conversation returned to the subject of the Red album and all the memories attached to it. Taylor said she never expected All Too Well to become such a fan favorite, but she was grateful for everything that led up to this point. She thanked her fans for being so dedicated and for pushing her to release the songs they wanted to hear. Before the conversation ended, Taylor gave another big smile and said, "If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe," before turning back to Jason to answer his last question. She wrapped things up by saying how rewarding it was to reclaim her music, to see the fans' reactions, and to know that the song she wrote years ago still mattered so much. With that, Jason and Travis thanked her for sharing her stories, and Taylor promised to keep bringing surprises on her next tours. The room was full of laughter, gratitude, and music, a perfect end to a heartfelt conversation, and a reminder that some stories just keep getting better with time.